Hi there, and welcome to this day in history for March 18th. March 18th is the 77th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 78th in leap years, with 288 days remaining to the end of the year. The other day, the subject of idioms of improbability came up in our discussion of the Ides of March and the Roman calendar, where I discovered that the Romans observed the practice of creating their calendars marking the first of the month, the calends, and counting back. The Greeks did not. So the Romans had a colloquial expression, an idiom of improbability that they would use until the Greek calends, as a way of saying, yeah, that's never going to happen. Sort of like the modern day expression, when pigs fly. Turns out that sort of expression is known as an idiom of improbability, and by golly, there's a word for that. It's Adynaton. Adynaton. Adynaton is a figure of speech, a form of hyperbole that describes something that is impossible or highly improbable. It's used to emphasize the extremity or intensity of a situation by stating that something is as likely as an impossible scenario. Classical examples include phrases like "when pigs fly" or "when hell freezes over," which are used to indicate that the event discussed is unlikely to happen. Adynaton are used for dramatic effect in literature, speeches, and everyday language to convey the impossibility or improbability of an event or action. Adynaton indicates a singular count. The plural form of this word is adynata. Other examples of adynata are trying to nail jelly to a wall, moving mountains, catching lightning in a bottle, finding a needle in a haystack, making the sun rise in the west, and the one about a camel going through the eye of a needle. Various proverbs and quite a bit of literature make use of adynata on a regular basis, so there are many more examples out there. I'd be interested to hear of any adynata that you know of, if you'd like to put those in the comments. Neither the word Adynaton nor its plural form, adynata, are shown in the regular Merriam-Webster dictionary, but there is an article about it in Britannica.com and also on Wikipedia, and I'll leave a link in the description for my fellow logophiles in case you'd like to see more about that particular word. The word Adynaton comes to us from Greek. First known use of the word Adynaton is in the 1600s. Adynaton. Wow, wasn't that something? And if you have a word you'd like us to examine in this Word of the Day segment, drop it in the comments. We'll take a look at it. And with that, some of the southern states pulled together a provisional Congress of the Confederate States for the purpose of running what they hoped would eventually be a new and separate country, the Confederate States of America. This provisional Congress was followed by the Confederate Congress, founded in 1862. I've mentioned it before, and fairly recently, as I recall, as the war between the states, commonly referred to as the American Civil War. As this war droned on, it took a toll not only on the physical, mental, and emotional well-being of the whole country, but also on the camaraderie and sense of agreement between those in the South and those in charge of running it. I don't know if they knew that this would be the last time, but things were not going well for them on the battlefield and elsewhere, and the Congress of the Confederate States adjourned for the last time on March 18, 1865. This is the birthday of Eric Woolfson, born March 18, 1945 in Glasgow, Scotland. His folks owned a furniture store, but he had an uncle who inspired an intense interest in music in young Eric, and he taught himself to play piano, got a job as a session musician when he was a teenager, and it didn't take long for him to dip his toes into the pool of songwriting. He wrote songs for Mary Ann Faithfull, the Tremolos, Peter Noone, just to name a few. He did find that trying to make a living just writing songs was a bit of a struggle, and he went into management, did pretty well with that. In 1974, he met Alan Parsons, who had been working as a record producer. Eric Woolfson and Alan Parsons teamed up to form the Alan Parsons Project and worked together on what would eventuate in 10 albums over the next 11 years. Eric married once and stayed married. He and his wife Hazel had 2 daughters, 4 grandchildren. Eric Woolfson passed away in December of 2009 at the age of 64. This is the birthday of American politician and lawyer and 22nd and 24th President of the United States, Grover Cleveland, born March 18, 1837. He is, so far, the only president in American history to serve 2 non-consecutive terms, with an interlude by President Benjamin Harrison serving as the 23rd president. Grover Cleveland lived to the age of 71. Last year, I talked about the word miracle, the 1068 Near East earthquake, John C. Calhoun, Grover Cleveland, Edgar Casey, and the song Penny Lane by the Beatles, and I'll leave a link for you in case you'd like to check that out. Today's song is Eye in the Sky by Alan Parsons Project. Co-written and co-produced by Eric Woolfson and Alan Parsons, Eye in the Sky is the title track of their 6th studio album, which was released in 1982 along with this single. The song made it into the top 10 in many charts around the world, number 1 in Canada and Spain. Eric Woolfson and Alan Parsons are the official members of Alan Parsons Project, although they have had support from at least 30 notable contributors. Interesting point of trivia here, Eric Woolfson would sing a guide vocal track for each song Alan Parsons Project did, with the idea that whoever would be lead vocalist for that song could kind of hear what they had in mind with it. For many of their songs, Eric ended up being the lead singer, particularly on several of their biggest hits, including the songs Time, Don't Answer Me, Prime Time, and today's song that came to be Alan Parsons Project's signature tune, Eye in the Sky. Eye in the Sky by Alan Parsons Project. Link in the description. Alrighty, thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with a link in your email, messaging, or social media. If you enjoy this series, you can check out the playlist that contains these videos. I'll put a link to that in the description. That description lives on YouTube, so for other platforms, I'll include a link to my blog page that's called No Really. You can also find me on Rumble, BitChute, and Odyssey. All those links in that description. Alrighty, that's all I can think of right now. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. This is the birthday.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
I wasn't talking to you. Me and my mouth. John, are you kidding me? Okay, hold on. We got to make that be quiet. You got to read the black part. Hi there, and welcome to This Day in History for, where's your microphone? Okay, we don't want to say the same thing twice. Get your microphone. What is it with you and this microphone? Okay, here we go. Okay, we are still recording. That's great. Okay. How about that? We'll have a lot to edit today. Cacophony is a sound. Cacophony is a noun that you got to read it the right way. Let's start over. It's 8 o'clock, so all of the reminders are going to be dinging. I forgot to turn those off. Okay, stop it. It's 8 o'clock. Don't alienate people who can be helpful to you. Flinging happiness all over the place. Alrighty, back to work. I think we got it this time.